and sit down.
Oh yeah, what is up everybody? Welcome to It is Afternoons with Andy. It's not mornings with Andy, it is afternoon. But you know what? If you're watching this, I don't know, over in Japan, over there, Australia, it probably is mornings with Andy for you. And it's 5 o'clock somewhere. So if you want, sit back and drink a little beer, have a little goodness in your afternoon. I can do that at this time of day, but it's 7:30 in the morning. No way, because I got work to do. What's up, everybody? Let's go through the chat real fast. Say hi to some people. There's Val pimping out my link for First Man. If you haven't backed it yet, check it out. Back it now. If you love good superhero stuff, you will love that book. Past Master Dan, what is up? Rancid Potato, hello. Wiley Draws, hello to you as well. I'm getting all tongue-tied. How to Draw Comics by Dan Lawless. What's up, Dan? Devil Flyer, hail to you as well. Mandy's in the house. What's up, Mandy? AJ Tom, First Maniac is in the house. You know it. Thank you for saying hi. Leg Kick is here. Eric, hello. Apex, what is up? Sheldon, hello. Up 4:30 where you are. Well, there you go. I wish I had another hour, but I don't. So that is where we're at. Let's just see. Scrolling. Just want to get caught up. I like saying hi to everybody. Drawn Sword Graphics, hello. And Terry, how are you? All right. Without further ado, we were going to bring on, Apex, hello. We're going to bring on the man of the hour, Mr. Dale Keown. What is up, man?
Hello.
How are you?
Great. How you doing? North Carolina.
That's right, North Carolina, where it's 45 degrees and my wife and I are freezing. And we're both like, yeah, we could never move back to upstate New York.
No, it's
never.
1.5 Fahrenheit. Bobby, and dropping. So, but I knew this guy. I used to get this fan mail from a guy by the name of. He was a paraplegic. His name was Sheldon Drum. Do you ever hear that guy? He's from North Carolina. He go, I'm a Sheldon Drum, North Carolina.
And did he? Would he ask you for a drawing for free?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got mail from him. You're talking in the 90s, right?
Yeah, we're going way back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got mail from that cat. I think was it one of those things? I think the way I got it, because it wasn't really in the heyday of the internet.
No, absolutely
the way
not.
I got it is they sent it to Marvel and Marvel forwarded it to me.
Yeah. Well, he was a Pitt fan, so I got direct mail from the guy.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And he sent me pictures of him. He was like a I don't know what happened to him.
No, but he sent a picture along with the
Yes, he sent a picture. Sheldon Drum.
Well,
hey,
that's
Sheldon, what are you doing? Somebody's got to know Sheldon, right?
He would ask for a drawing, and you're like, I don't really have time for that.
Yeah.
And then he shows this picture of him in his wheelchair and stuff.
Yeah.
you're like, seriously? We're playing that card?
Right. Yeah, exactly. So
How do I know that?
A lot of drawings. He got a lot of drawings.
Yeah.
But he's paraplegic, so why not?
So he says, hey, have you ever got, since we're talking about mail, before we get on the topic, have you ever gotten mail from an inmate?
Oh my God, I might have. I got some pretty crazy mail, like almost written in crayon,
Oh no, I've never gotten that.
No, but I got, oh man, I think I might have actually. Yep.
I did get mail from an inmate. It's when I was working at CrossGen in Tampa. And because that was, a company with a public address and stuff, they, you could find the address just in the back of the books. So I got a piece of mail, when they were, pass out mail, not like everybody got tons of mail, but every now and then people would get fan mail. I got this letter and it said from a correctional facility, and I opened it up and the dude said the highlight of his month was when his mom would come by with comic. She picked up on New Comic Day and she'd deliver them once a month, and seeing my work and Bart Sears' work was just the highlight of his month.
That was the Valiant days.
No, this was CrossGen.
Oh,
the early 2000s. It was a company in Tampa,
right,
where the owner of the company, he's passed on, but he started the company in 2000. It lasted till about 2004, but he wanted everybody to move there and work in the building. I mean, he had good intentions. He was paying everybody, everybody was on salary. So we got paid every 2 weeks. We got health insurance because we were employees. We got sick days, vacation days.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and honestly, the only ask, and the schedules were set up right, were that you draw 5 pages a week, or you ink 5 to 6 pages a week, and you color. Basically, you're right on top. Say 5 to 6 a week, and then we only had 2 letterers because we didn't do enough books where we needed one letterer per. But every book had its own creative team, and we all had, the building was really big. It was 1 floor, and we had basically, it was kind of like looking down. Each creative team was in basically looking down on a square.
Yeah.
And each corner of the square had a drafting table with, the fake walls up. So if people walked by the outside of the square, you had the fake wall there. But if you looked inside, at the center of the square was a little conference table with 4 chairs.
Yeah.
So, we would take breaks and play chess and do shit like that. So
you watch movies and stuff. That was fun.
Yeah. Watch movies. Well, people would have little TVs. Like I had a little, this was back before flat screens, not before, but before they were cheap. And I had like the little 5-inch box TV on my desk and stuff.
What was the first job you ever did? Like, what was your first professional work? I'm gonna interview Andy.
I was gonna say, no, that's cool. Well, because we'll get to it. Well, real quick, I'll answer that question after we do the old. I like to do this. Dale, this is your life. Do you remember this?
Oh my god! Oh my god! Really? Oh no!
I own that.
What? Really?
Yes.
Oh my god! Look at that thing. How
that
big
is a 2-page. Well, I mean, I don't have to tell you, but that's a 2-page spread.
Yeah.
I assume you did the colors as well.
Yeah, I did. Do you think there's enough dead space?
It's funny because
I just filled it up with sky and clouds.
Yeah, but you know what?
That's what you do at your first job.
It kind of works.
I don't.
That's the thing, because you've got like, I don't know if you can see my mouse or my cursor on the screen, but you kind of have this nice angle coming down here, going up to him, so it kind of works.
I guess. I mean, composition wise, it kind of works, but I don't know. That was my John Byrne, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you see it? Can you see it?
Yep. I got this probably, I got this about 20 years.
Oh man. Where'd you get it? Like who'd you buy it from?
I got it off eBay.
What is the guy saying? What is Cole saying?
How
about that costume though? Isn't that cool?
Oh, what's he like saying in the word balloon?
Yeah, it's got to be something pretty important.
He says, well then, as of this day forward, we are a team. We are
our Dragonforce.
Now Kamikaze will show you to your lodgings.
She was
so is this Dr. Martin Dies in watercolor, or?
Yeah, that was,
because it has that vibrancy.
100. Because I think I read somewhere that people use the Dr. Martin Dies when it's just kind of like watercolor. Really, it's different. It's more like ink. colored ink, right?
Yeah, because once I had used dyes in the Kubert school,
Yeah.
and when you put dyes down, it's like it says, it literally dyes the paper. So once it dries,
It's
with
permanent.
watercolor, you can come back to it a week later, hit it with water, and
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
rework it.
It's because
But with
it's
dyes,
like little pits of pigment, little chunks of pigment that kind of wash away. Whereas ink, it's like probably smaller molecules of pigment.
yeah, once dyes dry, forget it. You go back to it 2 hours later, you're not moving it.
But yeah, Dr. Martin's, man, and that thing's a double page. And I used to, dip water, and I would just do this stuff. It was a lot of fun because I really had no idea what I was fucking doing.
Dude, I don't know. Like, I don't even do a lot of commissions. Like, I can watercolor to an extent, and I've got markers and stuff, but I'm so used to using whiteout on my work that when people ask me for a colored drawing commission, I basically, and I've been doing this for a while, I sell them on, I'll do it, but what you'll end up getting is the black and white original art with a digital file because it's colored in Photoshop. And then the sell point is you can frame the black and white, and you can take the digital file and print it out to the exact same size, or make it basically as big or small as you want. And people are like, "Oh, that's awesome."
Yeah.
So
that's pretty cool.
That's what I've taken to doing recently, instead of having to do actual original color and stuff. Because
I've always wondered, how inkers, they work from blue line. How do you do that? How do you do blue line? You just use your inkjet printer?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because that's how I do First Man.
But okay.
Well, not all of First Man. I take it back. So First Man's like a hybrid. There are some pages that and this kind of gets into the process. Well, let me answer your question, and we'll get into the process stuff since you asked. My first book was in my senior year at the Kubert School. I got hired at DC, and it was an issue of Suicide Squad. And you'll probably remember these. Remember Inventory Jobs?
That sounds familiar. Refresh my memory.
It's basically just it's not a fill-in issue, because a fill-in issue usually takes place in continuity. Right. An inventory job is literally here's a job. It's a self-contained story. We're gonna get the whole thing done. We're gonna put it in a flat file, and then if it looks like the book is running late, we can just pull that out of the flat file, send it to the printer. Boom, book doesn't ship. And this was before Diamond. This was before the internet. So if they ever did a job like that, the reader wouldn't know it wasn't planned, because they didn't know what was coming up next month. Unless, I guess you could say at the back of a book, it's like Suicide Squad number 10 says to be continued. And then there's the blurb in the letters page. It's like next issue. And it's like, oh shit, inventory job. So it's actually issue 12, not 11. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it never got printed. So nobody ever saw it.
Oh, really?
Nope. The book got canceled before they needed to print it.
What was it called again?
Suicide Squad.
Yeah, Suicide Squad. Okay.
And it was written by the creator, John Ostrander, it was a decade later. I was working at CrossGen, and I got a FedEx from DC, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And it had weight to the box, and I opened it up, and it was all 22 pages of Suicide Squad.
So when you ink, what do you use to ink?
I use two things. I use a brush, a real brush, dip in ink.
Sable?
Oh yeah. I use a Raphael.
It has
Raphael number 3.
Yeah.
Or sometimes a 4. And then I use Micron pens for some rendering and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I see that. Nice.
So it gives it the Microns give it a little more of
I did all my aircel stuff with Microns. And then they had this
what
thing.
I just showed?
No, the stuff when I was working for aircel, it was all Microns.
But they didn't have Microns back then, so you were just using marker.
Well, they were tan colored. Are those Microns?
Oh, really?
Yeah, like a tan colored. Yeah.
Oh,
that was late. That was like 87. I remember going to the art store and pick a bunch of those stupid things up.
See, in 87, you've got me by a few years because I broke in 91. In 87, I was I was graduating high school. But when I went to the art store, I started using a brush, not a sable hair brush,
No,
but like every kid, I got How to Draw Comics the Marvel way.
Yeah,
right?
me too. I still got it.
Mine's beat the shit.
Did you get the tryout book?
Dude, I got
a Marvel.
I got one
really?
back here.
Oh my God. I got that. I destroyed it. I did so
I destroyed mine. Oh no, I destroyed mine.
I should have got a mint condition one because they're probably collectible.
No, dude, I just picked this one up about 2 years ago for like $20 at a convention.
Okay. All right. That's like pretty nostalgic.
Yeah.
That was
that's why, because like I don't have any of the crap I did in the original tryout book from when I was a kid.
I failed miserably. It was terrible. I thought it was really cool to get the actual official art boards because that's the first time I'd ever seen them. I was going, oh, wow, it's got blue line on it.
Yep.
Oh, I love that stuff. I was such a geek.
Well, dude, that was the thing too. In the 80s, I don't know about you, but in the 80s, the Bristol board came in like, 9x12, 11x14, and then it went gigantic.
Yeah, the Todd McFarlane boards.
Yeah, but now, well, I shouldn't say now. It's been at least 15, 20 years, but 15, 20 years ago, they started Strathmore started putting out the 11x17 Bristol pads, and I'm like, why didn't you do that when I was a kid?
No kidding. Oh man.
Because getting back to the whole printing things, what I do is, so I work a couple different ways. On some pages, I do a thumbnail right on the script page that I print out.
I used to.
And the thumbnail's small.
Yep.
It's like maybe 2 inches high.
Same here.
1 inch across.
Yeah, same. Exactly. I got that from Dave Ross.
I mean, I got it from Kubert.
Yeah. Okay. He probably got it from Kubert.
So maybe
because we live quite a ways away from the Kubert school. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. Hey, let me grab let's see. Absitz Ben Senin. I screwed that up. I'm so bad. Anyhow, thank you for the super chat. And Dale, show T. Akira.
Isn't that beautiful?
That is.
And it really retains its color.
Yeah, that's nice, man. Thank you for that super chat.
It's way too big for me.
So I do a thumbnail right on the page. Actually, here I can show.
I've done that for a few issues. I love that. It just keeps it all contained.
I print script pages out.
Yeah, that's what my pages look like. Exactly. Little thumbnails.
Yeah, and that's let's see. That's a thumbnail.
I remember once I saw Neil Adams thumbnails. Oh my God, they were amazing. Dude, they're like you could print them.
Well, yeah, and I think those.
I thought, what's the point of thumbnails if you're just going to do everything over again but bigger?
Well, and that's the thing. Like I do my thumbnails, probably not as tight as Joe, but what Joe tried to tell us in the Kubert school when it came to the thumbnail stage is just get the basic shapes down so your eye can see the composition in the panel.
Yeah.
You don't worry about facial detail and hands.
No, not at all. Yeah.
Just big shapes.
Yeah.
And then you can see the composition at that nice small size to see how the whole page will flow. And then I will what I'll do from there is a lot of times I'll just pull out the 11x17 board, rule out the panels, and start drawing.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure, like, I'm going to assume you've probably tried, you've probably gone through every type of way to do it. I'm about to say, like, for instance, I've worked 8.5x11 proportion, and then I've blown it up and traced it off. And then I've worked with an 11x17 piece of copy paper where I rough it all out and then trace it off. But I just like, it's that whole redoing stuff, kind of like you said with Neil Adams. Yeah. And I hate that. So that's why I just kind of like going straight to the board. Because
you're drawing things like 3 times over. I'm guilty of that. I do a thumbnail so I can spot the composition, all that stuff. And also also when you draw things smaller, I tend to like draw the arms longer. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
really?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like because you're trying to create dynamics, and then when I blow it up, I'll go downstairs, scan it, bring
Yep.
it into Photoshop, blow it up to 11 by 17, and look at it. Okay, so everything is exaggerated because when the smaller you draw something, the more exaggerated everything
Yeah.
gets, like the attitude, all that stuff. But I
Yeah.
want to capture that because it's going to be shrunk down a little bit from there. So hopefully by the time it's shrunk down to this big, it's retained some of its excitement.
Right.
You know, it's all about
Right.
just retaining that excitement. But
Right.
one time, oh my God, back in the Image days, like I was doing, I think I just did one of the issues. Sorry. Maybe I shouldn't say this.
It was 30 years ago.
But they were getting a little fucking weird about, they were going, okay, we need to see the finished book before we solicit. Right.
Oh,
I
yeah, I
hadn't done a
remember
book.
that.
So dude, I did a whole book with the pages this big, a pretend story. I didn't even do that story. I just sent enough pages. They look like real pages, but they're only this big. And I
Yeah.
sent it the Image and I blamed it on the fax machine. And they went, okay, they thought I'd finished a book. I was just making the shit up, man. Like it was the little thumbnails, and they would not solicit until I finished the book. And I pretended to finish the book by sending them fake pages that were fucked up with the fax machine. It was
Oh,
just
that's
fucking
hysterical.
diabolical. Because I wanted to get it solicited. I knew I could do it, but they were getting kind of pissy about it.
You
That was
know,
back,
I
that's like 93 or something.
so
But I
I
completely
drew
faked
Pitt.
it.
I drew. Maybe you can enlighten me on this because I
I know what you're gonna say.
I
Eric
was
Larson.
I was a hired gun, right? So
Yeah,
Eric hired
exactly.
me. The first thing I ever did for Eric was Vanguard. He
Yeah,
did a
I remember.
6-issue miniseries,
Yeah, that was good.
and a different artist drew every issue.
Yeah,
So I drew issue 6.
yeah.
And it was, I mean, he had those 6 issues were a great lineup. Rick Leonardi, Joe Madureira, Scott Eaton, Angel Medina.
Angel,
God,
he's great.
God, I'm blanking on the 5th guy, and then myself. And then after that, he said, "Do you want to do Deadly Duo?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I don't know.
Yeah, and then he asked me for permission to use Pitt.
And I
at
did the
that,
cover and a
dude.
lot of the insides.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that. That's why it was such a big deal. I didn't know he'd started already. So basically, everybody and their dog was using Pitt back
Right.
then. They were put it, and I had an agent who's like my representative, and he was
Yeah.
going, I think you're diluting your property or something. Diluting it. I don't know. If it was up to me, I wouldn't give a shit. I
Sure.
did it because it was like a business advice. So
Yeah.
that was right the same time that Eric phoned me up and asked to use Pitt, and I said no. And I'm like, I wish I hadn't, because what's the big fucking deal? I mean, I didn't know you
Right.
were already working on it.
Oh, I
But
had to,
I just said no to everybody using Pitt because it was like everybody wanted to use Pitt.
I want to say, hold on, AJ. Gary Carlson, I think, was the writer of Vanguard. Gary Carlson is more writer than artist.
Okay.
But he's good buddies with Eric and stuff.
Yeah, that was crazy back then. People were just I was just taking advice. I was taking business advice. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I was like, they must know what they're doing. I'll just listen to those guys.
I want to say, and somebody would have to, if anybody collects the previews catalog, they could answer this.
Yeah.
I want to say that the cover in previews for issue 2, Pitt was on the cover.
Oh fuck!
Because I drew the cover.
I didn't know it went that far.
Book,
oh, I
but
feel
I
like
do
such
know
a
I had to do a patch for the cover because we ended up using Maul.
Okay. Oh, that's right. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we
and then a few pages. I know I did a patch for a few pages. I have some of the art. It's just buried. One day I'll dig it out.
I was just flattered that people wanted to even use my character, but a lot of people were using Pitt back then.
Yeah, yeah.
And
oh no, I remember he was everywhere.
I mean, Sam Keith did it, and it was just the weirdest book I've ever seen.
Yeah, well,
remember that Sam Keith, the Max 7. I love Sam. Oh, I love Sam.
Sam's a great guy.
Sam and I got, like, when we were in San Diego back in 2000, Jesus, 1992. That was the big before, like, San Diego, before it went all movies. So like Image was like a big deal. I met Sam and we just got along like that. We hung out the whole time.
I met
Because
Sam at a convention in Florida. I want to say Miami or Fort Lauderdale
yeah,
around 92
yeah.
or so, because I remember who I was. I remember I was living in Florida. I was dating somebody who came down to the show with me. He brought his. Was he married? Do you know? He brought either his girlfriend or his wife with him. I can't remember what the situation was. I don't remember, but I just know during the con, the woman I was dating and his partner were hanging out and stuff because neither one of them really cared. So.
All right. I got
like my wife now.
Yeah.
You know, I've been married for 26 years and she has no interest of walking. She has even Heroes Con, which is the biggest con here in Charlotte once a year.
Heroes, yeah.
I've been doing it for, well, since we moved back here in 05, I've been doing it every year. And I did it, 4 or 5 years, prior to that. But for the past 15 years since we've lived here, or 17 this year, she's maybe walked into the convention center 2 times.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's like drive up, get out, and then speeds off. So
Have you ever done the Fan Expo in Toronto? Have you ever been up here?
Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah?
I don't know if it was Fan Expo. I think it might have been actually,
because that's the biggest deal. I mean, there's a couple other conventions that have existed, but Fan Expo is the giant.
Yeah,
San
Diego
Diego of Canada.
I did it.
Huge.
I did. We'll just say it was I'm pretty sure it was Fan Expo. It was back in 2000.
Was it at the big convention center?
I want to say, yeah. It was like 2006,
okay.
2007.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And I was sitting next to Tom Grummett, who's I never knew was from Canada until then.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I should know that.
He's from Canada. But he lives like, I don't remember. He did tell me where, I can't remember, but I do know it's like, it's a part of Canada he mentioned. I'm like, I've never even heard of that. So it's not like a Toronto, Quebec, Ontario. It's nothing like that. It's out in the middle of nowhere, I guess.
Yeah, it's probably like Winnipeg or Saskatchewan or Saskatoon.
It could be.
Or something. Yeah, something like that. I know that Travis Charest is from the same part of the world as I am.
Oh, okay.
And I remember always trying to like get in contact with him. Hey, man, we're both from Alberta. He's like,
what's your okay? So I'll tell you this convention experience, and then while I'm telling it, think of your weirdest convention experience with a fan. Okay. So I'm in Canada, sitting next to Tom. I don't sell my original art anymore. I haven't sold it, and I stopped selling my art, I think, in 95, 96. So when I go to cons, well, back then, it's changed now, all I would have is like photocopies of stuff I was working on, and then since then I've started taking a portfolio just so people can see original art and what it looks like, but and I've got books and stuff now, but anyhow, so back then I just had photocopies and stuff, and this dude comes by my table and he's looking through my stuff, and this is 2007, so I was 15, 16 years in the business, and he's looking at my stuff and he's like, you do commissions, sketches? I go, yeah. He goes, how much? I don't remember what it was then, but I told him, and I'll never forget. He looks at me. He literally looks down at my work, looks back up at me, points at me and goes, you're not there yet. And I walked away. And as he's walking away, he turns and he goes, you're not there yet. And then, and I just remember Tom sitting next to me, looking over at me like, what the hell? And I'm like, that is the weirdest shit I've ever had happen.
The same thing happened to me. I have my portfolio in front of me at the artist alley, and I'm always keeping an eye on it because somebody could grab something, right? And there's these 2 young guys, and they're looking at my artwork, and they go, because there's a $2,000 price tag on it. One of the drawings, they go, oh my God, $2,000. And they look at me and I'm looking at them like, what the fuck? It's $2,000.
Yeah.
They thought it was,
and that's it. In the portfolio,
egregiously overpriced.
Cons, it's good stuff that's in the portfolio. I mean, it's not like I'm going to be like, well, I got to show something. Let's show crap. No, I put good stuff in the portfolio art wise, but I price it really high because I don't want to sell it.
Same here. I said, if somebody's crazy enough to buy it, go ahead.
I've had it happen like 3 times. I did a cover for a book called Sigil that from CrossGen.
Yeah.
I didn't ink it. A buddy of mine inked it that was at CrossGen, but I got it back. So I had it, in my portfolio. I didn't want to sell it. So I had it priced really high. Somebody's looking at my portfolio, big CrossGen comics fan, goes, I'll take it. And I was like, okay. So I pulled it out. I said, you want me to sign it? They're like, yep. So I signed it. They paid me cash. My buddy sitting next to me is like, that's got to feel good. I said, I got to be honest. I wish I charged more. And they said no.
I know exactly what that's like. Exactly.
Oh, another fellow Canadian, John Doherty, said for $5 says Dale Keown, coo. I don't know what that means.
Is that the Bob and Doug? Coo.
Oh yeah, it is.
Take off to the Great White North. It's a beauty way to go.
Carl Dude 555, $2. Can we expect the Pink campaign to launch this year? Ooh, that's a pretty good answer. See, you can get an answer without saying a word.
I would say if you looked at a like a 8-ball, it would say, "Give me an 8-ball." It would say, "Highly likely."
There you go.
I don't even know if an 8-ball says that. What does an 8-ball say? Give me some 8-ball sayings.
Yeah, I'm not. I would say I don't. I think it might say because there is something like
try
that,
again
like
later,
possibly, or I don't know. So, what was your first gig then?
My first actual gig?
Yeah, printed work.
Okay, it was it was for a magazine. It was a picture of Pinocchio. It was like about lying music agents, and so it was like a guy on the phone, and his nose is growing. So that was I can't remember. I have it somewhere, and then that was like way before I even sent in submissions to Marvel.
Oh,
and then when I finally sent in submissions to Marvel, they sent me a form letter saying, yeah, just, we don't have, you're too much like John Byrne, basically. And it was like really bad John Byrne. I mean, if you look at that stuff, it was horrible. Like, I don't know what I was trying to do, because you look at John Byrne, you go, I think I got it. And you go, no, I don't got it. I don't got it. But it was interesting enough because I put a lot of passion into what I did,
Right.
And it sort of, I kind of had my own style, I guess, but they said, no, try again later. So I worked on a bunch of Fantastic Four submissions. Like I was really killing it. This is after the last band I played in. I was playing bass. I was going to go audition for like some other cover band. And then I found airicel Comics, like a stroke of luck. And then I was doing like a book for like $300 a week, which was a lot of money for me, because I was making maybe $100 a week if we played music. So I went from playing, like making nothing, to what I thought was a small fortune.
Right.
Like I can't believe I was getting paid to draw. Like it freaked me out. Like what? And I was like, I wasn't that great, but they put me right on a book. So that was my first. And then it was airicel, a bunch of samurai stuff, and then Dragonforce and some Elf Lord. And I worked with a guy named Barry Blair, and then that folded. And then, but basically what happened was Barry Blair was at a convention in the States. He went by himself with a couple other guys, and Joe Rubenstein approached him because he had seen this werewolf inking this drawing I had done in the back of one of the books, and he was like really impressed with it. So he gave Barry Blair my number and said, give this to Dale. So Barry Blair like waited for like maybe a year and a half because he didn't want to lose me.
Yeah.
So he gave me Rubenstein's number. I immediately called him, and then I sent him samples, and then he went right into Marvel and gave them to to a few editors. And Bobby Chase was one of the editors who liked what she saw. And then next thing you know, I was doing a book called What the Fuck?
Oh, yeah.
That book? Yeah. It's all very cartoony. And then I was on their active list. I was making $75 a page on their active list. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm a comic book artist. Like, what the fuck happened? Like, I was a fucking dumb bass player for years, and I'm a fucking comic book artist working for Marvel. I couldn't believe it. I was like, how lucky. Like, that's just lucky. I don't think I was ready for it, but I got it.
And then I'm the same way. Most people I talked to when they broke in were like, there's no way I was ready for that. Like,
no, you never.
I didn't think like when I got my first job at DC, like I said, it was in my senior year of the Kubert School, and I graduated in May. I got the job in March, but since it was an inventory, I didn't have to start until I graduated because the editor was like, I want you to finish school. You paid for it. The script will be here. Don't worry. And he kept to his word. But it was one of those things. I went into that school thinking I want to have a job drawing comics for a living when I graduate because I don't want to have to get a part-time job or a real job.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And
I know exactly
so,
what you mean.
I got the job, and I don't know about you, but when I read the script, so getting back to process, when I get a script from a writer, I'll usually read it 2 or 3 times before I start drawing, and then I'll go through and collect whatever reference I need. If I need to do any sketches of the characters just for myself, no editors ever asked, we want to see what the character, nobody's ever done that. But sometimes I'll just do sketches for myself of the characters.
No, none of that happened. Yeah, back in the old day, none of that happened. No sketches.
Yeah.
I didn't even do cover sketches. They didn't even approve cover sketches. Of course, it's a lot easier to send things back and forth now. Before it was like I would have to I don't even think I had a fax machine back then. You'd have to use FedEx for everything.
I had a fax machine, and I want to say when I started at Marvel in 92, they did have me fax up cover sketches.
Okay.
But that was 92. So
yeah, I didn't get a fax machine till like the mid 90s.
But I mean, I would get my scripts. Well, it depends, because like back then they were really like just throwing the paper around. So it's like, oh, I need some paper. And they, how
oh, no kidding. Oh my God. I remember that. I got a bunch of paper.
They fill a FedEx box up.
Yeah, like, that's what I got. I got 2 of those things, and they lasted me forever.
Yeah. And then after that, when it came to scripts, it was, well, we'll just fax them to you. It's like, okay. And then when you run out of paper, they'd be like, okay, well, we'll send you more. A friend of mine that was an inker.
And it was pretty good paper.
What's that?
It was pretty good paper. Compared to now, their paper's shit.
Marvel's it was great paper.
They still have paper, but it's garbage.
Yeah. A friend of mine that was an inker, Brad Venkata, when he actually started at Marvel as a raider, Remita Raider in 88.
A Remita Raider.
Remita Raider, yeah.
Okay, I've heard of that.
Yep. It's basically, you're working under John's art director, you're working under John. He's got like 4 or 5 of them in the bullpen. Because you visited Marvel offices in New York, right?
No, I've never.
You never did?
No.
Oh, man. So like their offices in New York in the early, late 80s, early 90s. The first time I went up was like 92.
Yeah, I've seen the pictures.
It was the editors were basically, it was like a square, and the editors were on the outside of the square, and then the center was the bullpen.
Bullpen, yeah, that's why they called it the bullpen. Yeah.
Yep, and you had, I remember, you know who Derek Robertson is, right? The artist. I remember he was working on New Warriors at the time when I met him, and I remember he had to get a page done, and Derek's always been fast. And he just sat down at one of the drawing tables in the bullpen and took out his script, took out his blue pencil, because he would do blue and then, right to the board, blue. And then he would take his, regular graphite over top, and he banged out a New Warriors page in like 3 hours. And I was just like, how do you do that?
Yeah, I know.
I can't do that now.
It's so fresh. I want to kill that person.
Yeah. I mean, for the longest time, I would look at Byrne stuff, and I'm still a Byrne fan. And, when he's like, oh yeah, I do 4 pages a day, 3 to 4 pages a day. Now, yeah, I mean, you can look at it now and see some drawing deficiencies and stuff. And I think that's because we know what we're looking at. But if I show that stuff, and I always use this as an example, if I show that stuff to like my wife, she would be like, looks good to me. And that's the average. That's like the average person, because she's not. So when the average person looks at stuff and is like, oh, it looks good to me. And then you're like, yeah, and that dude did like 4 of these in the time frame of like 7 to 5, because I remember reading an interview with John where he said he basically starts at 7, takes a lunch break, finishes at 5.
Yeah.
And that's, he doesn't listen to music. He works in total silence, no radio, no TV.
Yeah,
Just
he's
sits
very,
down.
very, very disciplined.
Yeah.
I met him. When I met him, it was like he doesn't seem like a real like laughy kind of guy. You know what I mean? Like he's very serious. Even his panels are very serious. Like there's some laughs, but he doesn't try to be funny. You know?
See, I met him with so it was at MegaCon in Orlando, Florida in like 97.
Yeah.
And the two takeaways are when you're sitting in a
Yeah.
convention, it's just the regular height table, whatever height the
Mhm.
table is, 3 feet, whatever it is, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But John didn't like looking up at people, at least
No.
at this convention.
Same
So
with when I saw him.
He
He's a pedestal.
he brought a stool to sit on, and then he had this briefcase where the legs popped out so he could sit
Yeah.
and look straight at you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But this is the thing that killed me. I'm standing in line waiting to talk to him, and when somebody, talk about balls. When somebody brought up a reprint for him to sign,
Yeah.
he took out a stamp of his name, a rubber stamp, and he goes, "Reprint book, reprint signature, stink," and he gave it back to. I am not kidding, and I was like, "Oh my god,
That's hardcore."
like,
wow, man! I wonder if he still does that. That's crazy.
Who knows? That might have just been at that one convention, and he realized afterwards, wow, that didn't go over well. I mean, who knows? But I saw that.
But then he stopped doing conventions for years. Like he just didn't do any. But I remember sitting there I remember sitting there. Me and my girlfriend were sitting in the hotel buffet, right? Breakfast buffet. And then there's always other comic. And I see John Burns sitting over there, and I go, yeah, honey, that is that is like one of the best comic book artists in the world right there. He's like stuffing sausages in his mouth. That's John Byrne. He's like,
but then we went to dinner with him that night because John Beatty was good friends with him.
Lucky.
And I knew John I met John Beatty when I moved to Florida in 91. We shared a studio. So in 97, he asked John if you want to go to dinner while he's in town. He said, yeah. So I tagged along.
Nice.
Totally different guy than at the convention.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably a certain sort of way he is. I got to pee really bad. I'll be right back.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
I'll look at the chat.
All right.
Take your time. Byrne had, like I said, it was a briefcase type deal, and the legs popped out so he could set it up. And it was, I don't know, 18 inches high, maybe, whatever. And then with his stool, he was looking more straight on at you. So that's what he had. Let me just look through here. That's right. If you can't make sure to please like and subscribe. We got 82 people watching. Thank you all so much. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe now. If you have already, thank you. And take that little break to hit the like button if you would. That would be much appreciated. And here's the link for First Man. It's also in the description below, so you can go back it there as well. I think the mods, if they want, they can hit the little buttons on the side on YouTube and pin it to the top. So if one of you guys, Val, you posted the link. If you want to hit those buttons and pin it to the top, go right ahead. Randy wants to know if I finished painting the bust. I have not. I haven't touched it since the live stream over the weekend. That's more of a weekend type thing, but it will be done by the next time I do a convention, which is in March. I'm doing a show in Florence, South Carolina, so I'm going to have the bust painted then so I can take it to the convention to show. People are asking, now this isn't the painted one, but I don't know if you saw this on a stream or not. I had this made from a First Man from one of my drawings.
Oh, nice. Hey, you know that little that figure of you? Was that like a laser scan or what? It looks so amazing.
Oh yeah, dude. You
Because I
mean
keep thinking it's you. I keep looking at your thumbnail and go, that's actually him, but it's actually a figure. So you had to stand still and was that laser? Like, what's the deal with that?
dude, it's they were set up at a convention, the company, and it's like a small U-Haul trailer, the size of it.
Yeah.
And you walk into it, and about where the door is, it's about the width of a door. So the door is on the side of it, at say the left-hand side, and you walk in, and that's where they have the little computer that the person has to mess with. But then the whole rest of the trailer is hundreds. I can't remember how many cameras they said, but it's hundreds of cameras on
I think
all
I've
four
seen that.
walls.
Yep. It's pretty cool.
And I said, all right, before I, pose or whatever, how long do I have to do it for? She's like, literally less than 5 seconds. And I was
Just
like, oh,
bang.
okay. So you can't wear a hat and you can't wear glasses because it can't do stuff that pops off. Like, you can wear a hat, but you can't wear glasses because they stick off.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I had the wristband on that the convention gave me so I could go in and out. And she goes, it'll pick that up. So you might want to take it off and get another one. And I was like, you got it. Cause I don't want that forever.
No.
So, yeah. And
cool.
then I just, I figured for the first one out of the gate, I'll just do the old hands on hips. And, about 5 weeks later, it showed up.
Wow.
So
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it was very cool. Here's a question for you. How many comics did Dale and Guang Yap work on together? I think I pronounced that right.
Guang Yap. I haven't heard that name in a long time, man.
What was the book? I don't even know.
It was Guang Yap was a Chinese guy, amazing artist, really good. Like he was like very influenced by Neil Adams, and he did a book called Dragonring. And it's very, very consistent stuff. It's like sort of like Indiana Jones kind of adventure stuff.
Yeah.
He was great. I don't know what happened to him. All the guys at Image, I have no idea what they're doing. I don't think any of them are doing comic books except for me. I mean, Barry Blair died.
He did?
Yeah, he died like years ago. 10 years ago or something like that? Like something to do with his brain hemorrhage. And the other guys are still around. Like Dave Cooper is a very famous painter now. There's a lot of fans of Dave Cooper. He used to work for Fantagraphic. He did a bunch of like books for them. I don't know where anybody else is. I don't know. Hey, it's such a small company, It's a tiny company.
Tabitha Miller asked, did you ever get to meet Bernie Ryston?
No, I never got to, man. I wish I had. I met Steve Niles. That's one. One generation or one person away from, because he was friends with. But I really wanted to meet Bernie because he was such a huge influence on me when I'd already started drawing, and I was already drawing for a while, and then it was like that extra pump of amazing art because Airicel Comics had a whole shelf full of books. I remember looking at a Look Back.
I got
a Look Back. Yeah, big book, and and of course the Frankenstein stuff.
Oh, got that too. Yep.
Yeah, Frankenstein stuff, and there was a lot of, and I remember even that's when I saw the Barry Windsor Smith Wolverine.
Oh yeah.
So it blew my mind. I was like, wow, this is so wild. Like so much great stuff that I didn't even know existed because I was like a real John Byrne. Mm-hmm. Maybe, because I grew up with Sal Buscema, but not like kind of a John Buscema, like that kind of stuff. But the whole Wrightson thing was a completely, I didn't, because I remember seeing Swamp Thing ads in the back of comic books, and I go, who is that? But I never quite made the connection. And then I finally saw Wrightson. I'm like, I just had to draw like Wrightson. So I went through a Wrightson stage, and my work looked really weird because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't understand what he was doing. He was so far ahead of everyone else in regards to like inking and stuff. Trying to replicate it was impossible. Nobody can do it to this very day.
The first Swamp Thing I ever saw, or the first Wrightson thing I saw, which got me hooked on him, was that cover Swamp Thing when he's coming up out of the swamp.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one. That's the one, man. Yeah.
God, man.
Oh, man.
You look at the way people do Swamp Thing now, and they just really, and I like it, but I still default to Bernie. And what they do is you see him where he's literally covered and he has little flowers coming out, and he's literally just you know, he looks like he just stood up, and because he's leaves and flowers and all this stuff. But I got to be honest, I love the way Bernie did him.
Yeah, I did too.
It was smooth with some big roots and stuff.
And then you always have him fighting a werewolf at some point.
Oh yeah.
You have to. Bernie writes in Werewolf Rules. He did the best.
But see, so here's the story with Bernie. I went bowling with Bernie in the early 90s in upstate
bowling
New York.
with Bernie.
I went bowling with him and some other guys in that area of New York they lived. It was like the Woodstock, Saugerties area.
Yeah.
So I went bowling with him.
Bowling with
I can't remember if he was on the indoor volleyball team when I went down there, because I lived in Syracuse, so I would just drive down.
Yeah.
And we did indoor volleyball and stuff. It was like Fred Hembeck.
Oh,
Terry
yeah.
Austin.
Fred. That's a nice group.
So
you guys hung out with those dudes?
I mean, put it this way. It was only a couple times. And I have a feeling that if I would have went up to Bernie, obviously, you know, say 10 years ago and just said hi, I seriously doubt he would have remembered. He probably meets so many people. And it was just one of those things. I was in town visiting somebody else, and it was like, hey, I'm going to go hang out. We're going to go bowling and stuff. I was like, okay. And I remember we went to dinner afterwards, and I was like, God, I kind of expected your bowling ball to be a giant eyeball. It wasn't.
No.
But
I wish I'd met Bernie, man. I don't even know if he would give a shit, but I met Joe Kubert.
Oh yeah, Joe was great, man. Joe was the guy who, after 3 years, so you know, the Kubert school, you didn't have Joe in first year, because he basically, when I went there, which is weird to think about, when I went to the Kubert school, it was only 11 years old.
What year was that, by the way?
88.
Okay.
But now
that's the time that a guy by the remember Ron Wagner?
Oh yeah,
artist. Yeah, he told me all these stories, all those stories that you were telling on John Malin's show. I'm having deja vu, because that's exactly what Ron Wagner told me. He also told me that if you spend too much time on a drawing, he says, like, it's almost like he had a yardstick, like you're playing with it. Stop,
right.
You know when to stop, because he was trying to like infuse the professionalism into the artist,
right?
Which is something I could probably use. I could have used then, that's for sure.
Well, you know, everybody's style is just, you know, is what it is.
I don't know if I could do it again, because there was something about just drawing and not seeing a lot of other artists where you're kind of in your own little vacuum, your own bubble. Now, if I look on the internet, I look on all these websites and I see these amazing artists that I consider better than me, and they're not even professional. So it's like really humbling. But back then you didn't know. You didn't see a lot of other artists except for like the big guys. But there's all these people who they're just amazing, gifted artists born that way.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of intimidating.
No, dude, it still is.
But it keeps you on your toes, though, right?
With some of the recent stuff I've seen you do for Ethan, I'm just like, holy crap!
I know. I'm in high gear, because I have to impress people. I'm not going to rest on my dumb laurels. I'm gonna do my best work with the all caps.
Well, I think
a fucking guarantee.
You know, I think, I mean, that's always been my mindset, because like, even though I've been doing this for well, this year it's 31 years. Whenever somebody at a convention comes up, and it's, you know, like, you know how it is, you'll see fans at conventions you've seen before. And so
absolutely.
You know, like, oh, hey, how's it going? Good to see you again, whatever.
Yeah.
But, you know, when you have somebody new come up, and to me, I'm always like, wow, you know who I am?
Yeah, me too. Like I'm still like that. Like, people know, you know who I am. I can't believe it. Like, because you spend so much time just alone in a box drawing,
well, you don't realize, like,
your work's being disseminated all over the world. Like, I used to get letters from Mexico and Europe, and you know, all over the world.
You don't realize, even for me to this day, I mean, I know it, but it's not like top of mind that the work you're doing is being seen almost worldwide. You know, you just don't realize it. So when somebody comes up, well, even my drawing book that came out in 2000.
I have one of yours.
I know. Thank you.
I got it from Amazon, man. And I got what other book? Oh, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, Aaron told me you mentioned it just out of the blue, and I was like, "Holy crap, that's awesome!"
Oh man, that book has pulled me out of the fire a couple of times.
But
Like I
but
just
the
go,
funny thing
how
is,
does Andy do it? How does Andy do it?
when people come up to me and they're like, "Oh yeah, I got your drawing book," I'm like, "Really?" and I know how well it sold. I mean, it
dude,
sold really well.
I looked at a bunch of books, and I picked yours out of like a bunch of books because it just looked like that's what I wanted.
Oh well, thank you. Randy says, $5 super chat from Randy Howell. Can we get a first man bowling ball? A pit bowling ball would be amazing too. I mean, I don't know what would be on a first man. Like, I can imagine a pit, just seeing the teeth behind you of pit. I can imagine like that face wrapped on a ball would be awesome.
Yeah. I actually have a white, I have a guitar I painted primer, and I want to ink on it.
Oh, that's cool.
This is a really good book. Do you ever see this one?
Oh, I've got it.
Oh, it's so good, man. It shows
you know he's got like 3 more, right?
Oh my God. I just look at this and I go, like, he's amazing how he just establishes the different planes. Oh my God.
It's the way he breaks stuff down. And I think it comes from like a storyboard. Yeah.
It's so beautiful. All those solid blacks. I'm really getting into silhouettes now. First of all, it saves you a lot of time. Plus it fills up a page and it really grounds the page. It gives all the characters weight. I'm really getting into
anyway. Here's a question for you. What was obviously you're well known for your run on the Incredible Hulk. But I always like to say, when I was growing up, when I got into comics, like for instance, I'll give you an example. When people are like, "Who's your Captain America artist?" For me, it's Mike Zeck. Because that's the stuff that got me into comics, was Mike Zeck's run on Captain America. The first comic I ever bought was a Captain America by Mike Zeck.
Yeah.
So people are like, "It's not Jack Kirby." And I'm like, "No, that was way before my time. It's Mike Zeck."
Yeah.
So for you,
it was John Byrne, Joe Rubinstein, Captain America. Remember that? John Byrne and Joe Rubinstein. It was amazing. It was amazing run. Oh,
but Byrne doesn't like that stuff.
No, he doesn't want to work. I think he stopped working with Joe after that. I have no idea why. His stuff, whenever Joe touched Byrne's stuff, it just elevated it.
Oh yeah.
It's just Rubinstein was like, he just brought his work to life. Like he sort of redrew it. He didn't just trace him. He actually redrew it. And Rubinstein is an amazing painter.
But you could still see Byrne.
You could, absolutely. But it was it was like he brought it up to a level. Like who was inking his stuff before? Like there was I can't remember, but whoever it was, I just remember that Captain America is amazing.
But I was going to ask, who would you consider your go-to Hulk artist?
Oh my God. I did like Ryston's Hulk a lot. Yeah, he did some Hulk stuff. But I mean, I loved Byrne's Hulk. There was this one. What was it? Like an annual, like a year annual. It was inked by Bob Layton, and it had Angel in it. It was like an annual. Oh my God! I looked at. That's where I learned a lot of my. Well, not really, but I just looked at it so much and tried to copy that, because my whole life has been copying. Back in the 70s, Sal Buscema and Joe Staton.
See, that's what I copied. That's who my Hulk artist is Sal Buscema, because he was doing the book.
Yeah, that's what I should say. You're right. Thank you. Yes, Sal Buscema, because how many? I mean, he was back when I was collecting comic books when I was a teenager. I had a subscription. I finally discovered you can actually get comic books delivered to your house. So I had, of course, I had Incredible Hulk. I had Nova, both the same team.
Oh yeah.
I had John Buscema's Tarzan.
Oh my God! I had the whole run.
Herb Trimpe's Godzilla. Those are the 4 books, and every month they would arrive. I felt like I was in heaven. Like I couldn't believe.
Dude, I've got 2. I found these about 2 years ago on eBay.
Yeah,
I've got 2 oversized hardcovers that they don't collect them all, but they collect, I'd say 60% of John Buscema's Tarzan run in black and white.
Oh man,
they're French, so I can't read them, but I don't care.
I wouldn't care either.
Comics anyhow.
Yeah, but oh my God, I didn't really even know like how good John Buscema was. I just remember it was excellent, because there's no way I could touch him back then. But Sal Buscema, I could actually copy his panels. Like, oh my God, oh. You know, oh my God, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm gonna grab something here.
Yeah.
Off the wall, man. Yeah, baby. All right. Can you dig it? So this is a page this is an actual page that Joe Staten sent me.
Oh,
Because I did an interview and I said this is like the first comic book I ever bought.
that's
And
gorgeous.
he just mailed me this page.
Oh,
Sal Buscema and Joe Staten. It's got all the stuff. It's got all like the yellowing.
oh yeah.
Oh, so I hang this up whenever I set up my studio. Now I gotta hang.
See, I don't own any Sal Buscema artwork, and
Oh, so
only
lucky.
John artwork I own is
John Byrne, yeah.
or John Buscema. The only John
really?
Buscema
Oh my God,
art
even better. Yeah.
is I have two things. I've got an 11x17 Conan rough because he would do full size roughs and then trace it off. So I've got a full size rough, and then I've got an 11x17 full figure pencil rough that John did of Batman.
Oh man. And yeah, well, is it got you framed? You got it framed? I mean, it's probably right behind you.
Got it in the portfolio. I've got a few things framed. The only things I have framed. Oh, I've got here. Hold on, I'll show you something.
Okay, all right. Here we go. Now we're getting down to it.
Something Joe Kubert is not known for. He's going to show me something. I bet.
No. Go ahead, man.
Okay, something. It's a Joe Kubert original, but it's not a character you would ever think Joe would do. But do you remember the Heroes catalog? Joe did the art for those.
Okay, what year was that? What was?
So the Heroes catalog, it was another distribution system before Diamond took over everything.
Okay.
So it came out in like the 80s. It was comic book size, and it would advertise toys and all sort. It didn't advertise comics. It advertised everything else that DC and Marvel would license out for.
Yeah, I think I know.
But instead of showing pictures of the stuff, they hired like Joe in his studio to do drawings.
Yeah.
So, dude, check this out.
Oh man.
Hold on, I'll solo it. So
wow, that's amazing. Look at that. Look at that solidity of that.
Joe Kubert Superman, baby.
Wow, that's amazing.
The Spider-Man and Hulk is a stat, but this is all original.
That's beautiful. Look at that.
Yeah, dude. I got that off eBay about 25 years ago.
Nice.
So, but I'd love to get. No, I've got a few John Byrne pieces in my. I've got probably 4 John Byrne pages. I've got one from X-Men Hidden Years when Tom Palmer was inking them because Tom was trying to give him that Neil Adams vibe.
Yeah, that was different.
Yeah,
that was different. You know, I used to have this. Tom Palmer, I think he did the Star Wars adaptation back in '77. Does that sound right?
Tom might have. Tom Palmer. It. Yeah, I don't think he drew it. I think he inked a lot of that stuff, but I can't remember.
But I loved Klaus Janson on anything.
Oh my God, Klaus! I've got one cover. Klaus inked one cover over me for an issue of Blade that I did back in the late '90s.
Yeah,
and Blade's, it's a full figure of Blade. He's fighting some monster or whatever, and I was going to ink it myself, so I penciled it, but I didn't pencil it. When I ink myself, it's not full pencils I do for somebody else.
Right.
And I'm looking at it and I'm like, I just don't want to ink this now because I feel like I've already, done a lot.
I know.
So I asked the editor, I said, hey, could we get somebody else to ink this? And he goes, well, it depends on who you want to ink it. And I said, Klaus Janson. He goes, I'll ask him. And he said, he goes, Klaus will do it. And I was like, yes. So I still own the original, and there's some Zipatone on it because Klaus loves Zipatone.
Yeah. I love Zipatone. I don't know where to get it anymore. Yeah. I guess you can do digital. You can do digital. Yeah.
Yeah.
Digital Zipatone. It doesn't matter. It's like I'm such a dinosaur.
I know.
I got to get some Zipatone. Remember that paper? You put one chemical on it, gave you these lines. You put another chemical on it, gave you the crosshatch. And John Byrne, I think John Byrne, and they were big pages. I think John Byrne did like a couple of issues like that. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that had promise. I tried it, but
he did. But the way he did it, the way he did it, if I remember right, because I think I saw some of the Submariner stuff in the office at
that
Marvel
was it.
one time.
Yeah, Submariner.
He did the original 11x17, and then, if I remember right, he would photocopy it down onto the duotone and then do the duotone on the smaller whatever.
What a trick.
Because that's the other thing. If you're doing duotone, you can't use whiteout.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, but then you can't do duotone over the whiteout.
No.
So
it was kind of an interesting idea, you know. But nowadays with digital, it doesn't matter anymore. You can do whatever you want digitally. I mean, everything I do is traditional pencils and digital.
Yeah, I do both.
Now I'm doing more inks because I'm out of practice.
Let me get to this and I'll go through how I do it. So Phil from Zade Comics, what's up, brother? Keown and Andy and my tall bro Dale. I know you're both tall. How tall are you, Dale?
We're the comics Twin Towers, comicsgate Twin Towers.
How tall are you?
6'3".
Wow, I think Phil's taller than you, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got a couple. He's got 3 inches on me. 2 inches, bastard.
But
I got some lifts. I got some lifts. So
I'm a striking 5'10".
Nice. That's good. That's decent. That's respectable.
Honestly, average height for a male is 5'8". So I'm above that.
All right.
So can't wait to see you guys put out this year. Dale, who is the one character you always want to draw a comic of?
This is gonna sound lame, but I've always liked Doc Samson. I don't know why.
Oh, dude, Doc Samson's awesome.
I love Doc Samson, man.
The original costume, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the way Herb Trimp. Remember that splash page by Herb Trimp and John Severin?
Oh yeah.
Dude, I love Doc Samson.
Yeah, but I like what Byrne did with him too. He gave him a new costume and.
Oh, I hated that red leather.
Is that right? Yeah. Wow.
That red leather. I mean, it was perfect for the 80s.
I didn't like it either, but I just thought it was okay because he just changed it. He remember he burnt all his hair off. I thought that was pretty cool. I loved the Byrne run. Remember, it was like literally Magnolia and Byrne traded books. Remember that?
Yep.
He just traded books. Hey, you do Alpha Flight, I'll do Hulk. I'm like, oh my God, this is great. And then he only lasted what? How many issues? Like 13 or something? Yeah, it wasn't that many.
I think it was a year.
No, it was like barely a year. And then he went over to Superman.
They did do a trade paperback.
Yeah.
So.
And that's why I went over to Superman. I'd never ever collected Superman until Byrne went over. So I was like a Byrne guy, and he's the reason that I got into Superman. And I really liked his Superman run, the way he depowered Superman, because Superman was like turning back time and doing all kinds of crazy things. I love. I can't stand overpowered. Yeah, I can't stand overpowered characters. You got to give him some weakness. You got to give him something that people go, yeah, I feel for.
Well, I think that was the start of. I think Byrne on Superman was basically the whole start of the revamp.
Yeah, I love that so much. Like I was really into that Superman just because I was so into Byrne, but I loved his Hulk run too. So
Terry Austin, I think, inked the first 2 issues as well.
But that was sort of like the first time that people were starting to follow artists as opposed to characters. Like John Byrne was the first superstar, right? Like people were following wherever John Byrne went, I would go. I didn't care what he did. Yeah,
same here. I still love Alpha Flight. Alpha Flight.
I should have told him that. I should have told him that. There's so many things I wish I had told him. You know, John, listen to me.
Have you seen the X-Men stuff he's doing just for fun?
No, I haven't. I heard
you know about it though, right?
No, is it online somewhere or?
It's at his website, burnrobotics.com.
Yeah.
He's on issue 30.
Really? What are they doing with that? Like, what's the deal? Like, why is he doing it? Okay.
Nothing. That's just it. Apparently there were some talks.
Yeah, I remember when there were talks. He was going to do something for Marvel. Like that was the time I met him. He was like gone up there. He hadn't done a convention in years. Yeah, there was word that he was going to do another X-Men.
Well, no, he started doing this 3 years ago, and it's basically it's basically issue 138 of X-Men, even though he started with new numbering, so he's on issue 30.
Okay. I have to check. I really want to check that out. I didn't know what was going on. I really got to check that out.
It's basically what if Phoenix never died. So it picks up with what if Phoenix didn't die. And that's what he's doing.
He's writing it?
Oh yeah. He's lettering it. I mean,
Wow.
dude, I've got 2 trade paperbacks of it in pencil.
That guy's unstoppable.
But he's just selling their original art.
Yeah.
And then every now, like somebody bought a 2-page spread and then paid Scott Williams to ink it.
Oh, wow.
It is gorgeous.
I got to see that. My God.
Dude,
I didn't know any of this
I have it
existed,
downloaded,
really.
but it is gorgeous.
I live in a bubble or something. But yeah, man, the reason I started collecting comic books again was because of his Fantastic Four run. I remember walking into a 7-Eleven and I'd forgotten about comic book. I was playing music and I walked in there and I was like walking past to get a drink and I went, what the fuck? It just like John Byrne. I was like, holy shit, look at this. So I immediately started collecting everything, going back, getting back issues.
Yep.
It just became it was just like John Byrne, everything. I don't know what it was about his artwork. Like maybe it was the consistency and the way he was very cinematic.
The people
Everything
were
is like, it was like watching a movie. It was like reading a movie.
Yeah, the storytelling, the layouts, the people.
I think I told him that. I think I told him that.
The men were handsome. The women were stylized and pretty.
Yeah.
You know?
And consistent.
And it was just solidly consistent.
But I remember somebody saying that he used to use a certain drawing tool and everything looked fucking perfect. And then they stopped making that drawing tool. So he had to go to, you can see a shift in his inking. There was one time where everything was perfect and it was just perfectly like organic and mechanical all at the same time. And then they stopped making this tool. So he had to go to a different tool and his work was still good, but it didn't quite look as like it used to when he was doing all that Fantastic Four stuff. And it looked like he had like he was doing it very quickly, but he had it down. He had it down to a system. And that tool was a very important part of that system. I think it threw him off a little bit. The fact that they don't
with him is like he is so about, well, one, he's always said that he's more of a writer that just knows how to draw, and he's all about the storytelling.
Yeah,
so that's why he doesn't get worked up about like, oh, that face isn't perfect. Whatever.
That makes so much sense because you can get constipated thinking about every little detail. If you just think about telling the story, that would sort of bypass all that neuroses that you go through. Like, oh my God, that triceps not perfect. Oh, this, it just drives you crazy. But if you just think about telling the story, you're going to get it done. And people don't notice, like people still look at my old Hulk stuff and go, that stuff's amazing. Yeah. I look at it and I see all my faults.
Oh yeah.
But people love that stuff. And I can't take that away from them. And I appreciate them loving it. But all I see is, oh my God, why does that face look like that? Or what am I doing? And thank God I had good inkers that sort of pulled me up.
But the thing is, I'm the same way. Look, I think all of us are the same way looking at older stuff. But the only thing that I can, the thing that I tell myself that kind of soothes that is, did you do the best you could at that time? And the answer is yes.
I absolutely did.
With the knowledge I had, with the knowledge I had in 1991 when I first started, that was the best I could do.
And plus, all those people who love it, you can't take that away from them.
No,
like they really love that, and and I look at it and I love it in the same way that they do because I realized where I was when I was doing it. It's all context.
Well, and look at it like this. So, talking about Byrne, right? I still look at Alpha Flight and I'm like that little kid. I've got the big fat omnibus, even though I've got all the issues. And I'm just like, I love this stuff.
Yeah.
But Byrne looks at it and sees, like we do with our old stuff, all what he perceives are the flaws. Yeah. But we don't. Yeah, so you'd like to actually ask him, point out what you see as your flaws in this so I can see if I see what you're seeing,
Yeah, that's a good thing to do, yeah.
But the other thing that I've always thought about with Byrne is I kind of think of John Byrne as the cartoony comic strip artist, but he does comic books. And what I mean by that is
what I know you mean.
The effort that he puts into the drawing is kind of like what you would see from like Jim Davis when he draws Garfield and that he has it down, like you said, to that.
System. Yes. I always admired even like Peanuts, the consistency of Peanuts. And I remember when I was a kid, I tried to draw it and I couldn't do it. Like I couldn't make it look like, it's just because of how often the repetition, you get used to it and there's like a rhythm. Like you can see the rhythm in John Byrne's drawing. And you can just see him there just finishing pages and working on it and just a machine of production. That guy. I mean, he's like the next like Jack Kirby.
Oh, no.
I don't
Totally.
know if he gets enough credit, but yeah, John Byrne was huge.
And, I also look at things like the dude is this year, he'll be 72 and he's still
Really?
cranking this stuff. Yeah.
And dude, when I met him, I expected him to be this little fella. He's a big guy. Like he's like 6 feet or something. He's not a small
Yeah.
guy. He's like
He's
5'10". I
he's
expected
something
him to
like
be
that.
this
Yeah.
little guy, like a little guy. It's like when I saw Conan O'Brien on television for the first time. Oh, look at they hired a little Irish guy. You realize he's
he's
got a
tall.
giant head and he's like 6'5".
Yeah.
Because you have no scale, nothing to compare him to.
Right. I love the screen name, Master of Boobs. Thank you for the $4.99. Dale, any advice on doing anatomy for giant monster characters? It doesn't look scary if it's proportional, so it takes me forever to get just right.
Well, I don't, for drawing monsters, to me, I never have to use any rules. It's just because that's why I like drawing monsters. When I draw like stuff like real people, and there's just like the 3/4 angle that's hard to get.
Yeah.
Even the straightforward angle is hard to get because everything has to be symmetrical. Because people pick up on that, and and there's a certain angle that I just really have a hard time. It's like, this is fine, but this is not. It's like the 45 degree. And I learned how to do that better by looking at your book. You broke it down.
I was going to say, I'm the exact same way. Like doing for a while, I would just do like a profile or a 3/4 view. There's a 3/4 view. Like,
as long as the other ear doesn't make an appearance, it's fine for me.
There's that slight, you take a profile and you edge it just a little bit so you can see a little front, but not much.
Yeah.
That angle is one that I still challenge myself with because it's difficult, because I've seen some guys do it, and I've been guilty of this, where you'll see the slight front of the forehead, and they do a total side view of the mouth.
Yeah.
And I think it's something only an artist will be able to pick up because it's so slight. But I look at it and I go, oh, that's so weird because the forehead is turned 3/4 subtle, but the mouth is total flat side.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. And I'm like, that is an angle. Like my buddy, have you ever met Bart Sears?
No, I know who he is, but
he's, Bart and I go back 30.
I can picture his face because I've seen him in Wizard magazine and stuff. Remember they used to have like the top 10 artists. Remember those dumb photographs?
Oh yeah. Well,
I think I was in there a couple of times.
I've known him since, the Kubert school because he was a teacher. So anyhow, he's one of those guys that just can nail that subtle 3/4 angle every time.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, damn you.
Yeah, it's tough.
And he's not it's funny because, I've shared a studio with him. So don't get me wrong. I know he uses reference, but he doesn't really reference people at all. Like every now and then I'll still look at my hand for a certain pose of a hand.
I do.
Or,
I have my whole computer's full of me making Hulk faces into iPhoto. So if I show you my photos, it'd be very embarrassing. Like a lot of Hulk faces and a lot of hands. Like, okay, how does this look? And I was drawing a hand. I was going, what makes that hand look like that? And I realized it's actually the distance between these two fingers. Like these ones are kind of, and I realized when I draw a hand like that, I got to draw these two fingers very far apart with the opposing thumb, or it doesn't look like there's full tension. Like when you're drawing the Hulk, every muscle has to be like just intense. So I look at myself. There's a lot of pictures of me in iPhoto with like.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That's what I love about the phones now. Could you imagine having this when we broke into comics?
Yeah.
What a difference it would have made.
Oh man, all that looking up a reference, and you buy like I bought a little camera and I put it on a stand. And there's a lot of weird pictures of me, but sometimes I'll just use it for lighting, getting the right lighting. Yeah, it's pretty advanced. But a lot of times if you have reference, it does help. It gets you started.
Right.
Get you started. Sometimes you don't. Like I'll look at some reference. A lot of times it won't even end up like that. It just gets you going. It gets the momentum. Then you finally, I finish it. And then you have to use your own instincts. But ultimately it comes down to your own instincts because you can't copy. You can't copy. It looks like it.
No. It's like it's called. It's just for reference. That's
Yeah.
it. You know.
Right. Yeah.
And it is. Sometimes it can make the world of difference. Even sometimes, like most of the characters I do for their faces, I just make them up. But sometimes it's like I'm one of those guys. I'll get stuck on like I don't want to fall into the trap of doing the same hairstyle or something like that. So it's like you said, it's reference. It's not finding the actual like, oh, it's Halle Berry and that's it. I got to use that hair, blah blah blah.
Right. Yeah.
But it's like picking and choosing from different things and kind of mixing it together and going, that's it. You know?
Yeah. I remember there was this one book I had. Oh, I got this book. Oh, I remember getting this book. Hang on a second. Oh, here we go. Come on now, buddy. I got this. Oh, sorry. Facial expressions. You ever get that?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's got all these facial. I've referenced this a lot.
Yep. That's a great one.
Good. Yep. And other stuff like that. Oh. Sorry, I got to pee again.
Let's see. Randy Howell, $5 says, Andy, I would love to see a new take on the Hawk Jarella story. In your Black Book, you drew a Hawk-like character in a Jarella type fantasy world. Now I'm blanking on what that is because I don't have my Black Book right next to me, but I'll take your word for it. I do love that character. And while Dale's not here, we can do a little commercial break. First Man 2, Learning Curve, my 64-page graphic novel now on demand on Indiegogo. I'm working on it daily. And if you are a fan of my work, I've been doing comics for now 31 years. The Black Book is a 8.5 by 11 hardcover, 112-page book that features a great retrospective of my work through the years. So you can check that out as well. So the link is in the description below. Please go back it if you haven't already. I appreciate everybody that has. And if you're into swag, you can get yourself a cool First Man t-shirt, him coming at you on the front, and the ever lovely penumbra on the back. So there you go. Thank you all. Let's see. Monster Boobs. Let's see some Greg Land reference. You know, I worked with Greg at CrossGen, and he'll tell you he's not shy about it. He uses photo reference, obviously, but he uses it kind of along the lines of if you've ever looked at the past illustrators of the early, 1900s, Norman Rockwell, J.C. Leyendecker, Albert Dorn, illustrators like that would take photo reference and, draw from photo reference. And that's, that's what Greg does. Everybody, oh, damn you. That's like my favorite.
I know.
Dude, peanut butter and chocolate, anything, I'm there.
Horrible with beer, though, by the way.
Oh, yeah, no. Peanut butter and chocolate with beer is gross.
Oh, it's terrible. It's the worst.
What you're doing.
It totally ruins it.
What are you drinking anyhow?
Dragon Stout. Let it all hang out.
Oh, nice. I just got my nice little Blue Moon. I do love Blue Moon. Nice
water going up the spout. Let it all hang out.
That's right.
This is the second time I've said that on a live stream. I don't know why.
There you
go. Excuse me. AIDS.
So I'm just curious, and this isn't really a doxing type question. Are you in I assume, is this the studio you draw in as well?
Yeah, it's literally the smallest room in the house. It's like the baby's room. It's the baby's room. There's enough room for a crib, and there's like a diaper room. That's I have no babies.
Oh, really?
But it's a semi-detached. No, there's no storage. But I like the small room because I can close it off. The air conditioner's blasting in the summertime because I fucking hate the heat. And then it's a nice little I can like shut myself away from my girlfriend so she doesn't hear me.
But where you're at, you don't have, like when I lived in Syracuse, buying a house that actually had AC throughout the house was rare. So we'd have window units. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I have central.
Oh, you do? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm fancy.
You're fancy that way up there.
That's right. Enough of your little machines in the window. Come on.
That's what I had for we moved into this place in 2013.
Yeah.
And I told you, and everybody that's watched me before knows, like I told you before, that I'm above a garage. And when we first moved here, I had the window unit, and it wasn't too noisy. You get used to that humming sound.
Mm.
But then in the winter, I had 2 of those box heaters for rooms. And when it got real cold, they just wouldn't cut it. So then, like, after being here for about 4 years, I finally said, screw it. And I got one of the mini split heat cool systems that just goes up on the wall.
Smart.
Dude, I got it in the winter. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I waited like 4 years after living here to do that.
Oh,
Because
man.
now it's, the only thing this place needs is plumbing. And I'd never have to leave.
I've literally lost my temper a few times when I'm drawing and like your tools are sticking to your arm.
Oh, yeah.
There's things all over the floor and your page is sticking to your arm. And you're just like, I just want to rip everything apart and just destroy your studio.
So getting back to the process thing. So what I was going to say is I'm a hybrid. Sometimes I draw right to the board. Sometimes I draw it, sketch it out on the computer, and then print it out. I've got the oversized printer, so I'll print it out in light blue and then just ink over that.
Yeah.
What about you? Are you a straight to the board guy? Do you sketch it out, trace it off?
Well, I always draw small. Like it usually starts with a thumbnail, something small, so you can spot the composition, and then I'll go up one stage to like this big. Yeah. And that's the actual sketch that I'm going to work on. Excuse me. And then I'll scan it and then I'll bring it into Photoshop and I might adjust a few things. Like that head needs to be smaller. This needs to be like this. So, and then I'll print that out 11 by 17. I have a giant light table. Like it's crazy. It's like a giant light table with like fluorescent lights in it and stuff.
Oh, nice.
And then I'll just use whatever art boards I have and I'll just light table it with like a 2H. Something light, not too much. So everything's there and it's clean. Because I was scanning my pencils. Now, when I'm doing inks, I don't care about that because I'm going to erase everything anyway. So my inks are my pencils, if I'm going to ink it, are it's kind of loose and dark and weird, because only I can see what's going on. But I spent so many years scanning pencils. I would I would go like a 2H, HB, and then I would end it. I would almost ink it with an
I've seen some of the stuff. Yeah.
Well, like I would almost ink it with a 2B. And then I would just keep working on it. And then I would take it. Okay, this is good enough. I'd clean it up a little bit, scan it, and then adjust the contrast or the levels in Photoshop and get the darks as dark as possible. And then I would fill in all the blacks. And then I'd go over it with like white paint and like, so it looked like almost an underpainting to like Frazetta or something. It was like
I've seen that stuff.
Yeah. So that's what I would do. And it's a long process, but I used to think I saved a step rather than going right to inks because inks are such a commitment, it's like once you start, like I use, like when the one thing I do love though, is when I use a 102 quill a lot. And when you use that, the paper gets like a braille consistency. You can feel the ink on top. And I'm always feeling my inks going, like if I was blind, I might even be able to tell what this page was. Because it's so
nerdy.
thick.
Where do you get the where do you get your nibs from?
I bought a bunch from Amazon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just like 102 hunt quill.
No, I know. I just never. I use Amazon for everything. I never thought of looking for 102 nibs at Amazon.
Normally I would just go to walk down to an art store and get them.
Yeah, but
I haven't been to an art
stores in my town don't even carry them.
No. Oh man, I'm paranoid. I'm always ordering extra because I don't want to run out. Like I had this paint. Oh my God. Like when I would do like a pencil, really dark and lush. And then I had this paint called Pro White.
Yeah.
Oh, and they stopped making it, dude. I could make a pencil drawing look like an underpainting, like it looked like a painting. Right. But they stopped. It was perfect. It would go, when you push really hard with like a 2H, a 2B, and you get that almost like Teflon surface, nothing will stick to it. This paint would go over that. It would go over glass. And I'm like, and I bought a couple bottles and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this thing. And I said, I'll just order some more. And then turns out they stopped making it. I was like, God, if I just would have ordered like a bunch, because I loved it so much. It really inspired me to do that kind of stuff. But it's weird how you find a tool, you find a certain product and they stop making it. It kind of freezes you in your tracks. Like, I'm so used to that. But at least a pencil is still a pencil, right? Like,
Well, that's true.
Like I always use the
Here's a question: do
like
you
the
use a real
mechanical
wood pencil?
pencils.
Oh, a lead holder.
Because
Okay.
yeah, like you can like sharpen them to like dangerous levels. Like I've
Yeah, that's
stabbed
what I have.
myself. I've stabbed myself a couple times. I was like overtired and I sharpened it and it's I got it right in my palm and I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah, I
Because you can
use.
sharpen
I
them.
don't
It's
go
so
to.
sharp. They're like a weapon, but they're great. They really last a long time. And the leads are a little bit expensive, but they last a while.
I don't go to a 2B. I do 2H and then I go to HB.
Mm.
So
I
what
remember Mike
are you
Turner said that.
inking stuff
Mike
for
Turner said he never goes softer than 2H when he was still
really?
alive. Yeah. I was like, then you look at his pencils, Mike Turner, and they're all light. He got all that. Basically, what he would do is he would do a pencil with 2H, everything's there, and then he would scan it and adjust the contrast so it looked darker. And then he'd give this almost coloring book style drawings to Peter Steigerwald, and he would just
Yeah.
turn it into magic.
Oh yeah.
There's a really good relationship.
No, those guys
The
were a great
colors
team.
and
I
oh
love
man,
Mike.
I partied so much with Mike Turner. Oh my god,
Did you really?
we got drunk so much. That guy was so awesome.
I
He
only
was
met
like,
him once.
oh my god, we used to get drunk with the top. He was with Top Gal, and then he went to Aspen, and they would come down to Fan Expo, and we'd go out and just drink nothing but sake bombs. We went to this fucking Japanese restaurant, and they were like, it was like fucking. They kept like, you hear the expression "ugly Americans," like loud Americans. These like they were like Steigerwald is a loud talker. Like he's just
really?
Everybody at Aspen is loud, and I could just see these Japanese people from the restaurant in the corner going, "Oh my god, we're like the Americans." It was kind of like World War II or something. But yeah, they're very meek, kind of meek people. But yeah, they're very loud. Those guys from Aspen are very loud, but they party. Those guys can fucking outdrink anybody. Probably to this very day.
I believe it.
Oh.
Are you inking the Salamandroid stuff?
I think so. I don't know. Depends on time. I can do a enhanced pencil thing, and it would look fine.
I didn't know if it was decided or not yet.
No, it hasn't really been decided. I said I would ink it, but I'm thinking I could probably. I'm going to try it. I told Ethan that I would give him samples of what my enhanced and see if he liked them.
Yeah,
because if he wants me to ink it, I'll ink it. I don't care. Because either way, it's like it's a little bit more work to ink it. But it's pretty close, actually, because I'm so anal about the pencils. I'm always erasing and cleaning up. It takes a lot of time. But if you ink it, you just have to have one final erase, and that's all you need.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Oh. But I'm just working on thumbnails now. I'm just finishing up a cover for Shane.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'm killing it. I mean, it's so detailed. Like I sent him a copy of the pencils. And he liked it, and I just went like even more crazy. I added more detail. I'm just like, sometimes I overdo it, but it's fun though. I really have fun.
No, that stuff is great. Let's see. Jimmy Ray's art, Inksmith Comic Arts. I'd love to ink Dale. Yeah,
that sounds dirty.
You dirty man. You dirty man.
I want to ink Dale.
I want to ink Dale. Charlie Lee says, I have a question for Dale. Is there a learning curve to light boxing? Get used to a bright light in your face.
Yeah, just trace it. You just trace it. Oh my God. I remember once when I was living with my brother-in-law. Like my sister had broken up with my brother. Well, not my brother-in-law. He's a boyfriend of my sister. Right. So maybe I told this stupid story before, but at the time I would counterfeit bus passes. Like I could draw the bus pass. I could draw, and it looked real, like the bus pass. And so I didn't have any money, and I wanted to get around, so I would counterfeit. I took a photo and counterfeited but I would need a light table to do it. So I'd take my old bus pass and I would like trace it. And I had my friends, my girlfriend, my sister's boyfriend had a light, like a glass coffee table.
Oh yeah.
And so I put a like a lamp underneath it, and I started tracing the bus pass. And then I started smelling smoke. I realized that the bulb was on the acrylic carpet and was burning a giant hole. It was like a smoke. There was this giant hole because I finished the bus pass, and then I went, oh shit, oh fuck, he's gonna kill me. Like I fucking completely ruined his damage deposit. So I went and I moved the TV. I cut out a perfect square underneath the TV. and then I cut it out where I burnt it. I put it there. I put a bunch of fucking newspapers over top, and I moved out. I got the fuck out of there.
Dude, I can beat that. When I was when I first moved up to Syracuse from Orlando to work with Bart in 1993, end of 93, 94, I was renting a townhouse. I don't know why I had to iron something, but so this isn't art related. It's burning carpet related. Oh, so I had to iron, and I had an ironing board, but it was like the floor one, so it was just laying right on the floor, and I'm ironing a shirt or some shit. I don't know. And I got done with it, and this is just how my dumb mind works. And I'm just like, I wonder what would happen. So I took the iron and just put it right down on the carpet.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. It melted right into the carpet. I pulled it up. I was like, oh, shit.
It's like spaghetti strings of.
There was like, oh, yeah. Plastic. And the carpet had that perfect iron shape, flat and melted. And I'm renting this place.
I had no idea carpets are made of plastic. That's crazy. I thought it was like wool or something. So I got the fuck out of there. I did the exact same thing. I was like, holy shit, I'm never gonna get my security deposit back. So I ran up into the closet and I measured the square, ran up into the closet, cut out a corner of the closet carpet, went back down, cut that out, popped it down with some tape, kind of ran my hand over the edges, fluffing the edges.
And I didn't have, I put the burnt one back up in the closet. And when I moved out like 6 or 7 months later, I think I just left like, you always leave shit when you move out.
Yeah, of course.
So I left like some box or something in that corner of the closet, hoping when they did the walkthrough, they would just open it up and be like, dummy, you didn't take that. Oh, well, okay, give him his deposit.
Yeah, he was pissed. He lost his insurance deposit or the security deposit. That's for sure.
I didn't get the whole deposit back because they called.
I evaporated. I was gone.
Dude,
like, I'm out of
here. Sheldon's not joking. He goes, Andy, I wonder what would happen, Smith. I was talking to Aaron over the weekend, Lepresti over the weekend, and I told him I'm the type of guy that I'm to this day. If I'm walking, like into my kid's school when she was going to school, and let's say there was a sign up that said, wall just painted, wet paint. I don't know what it is, but I have to touch it. And I go, hey, it is wet. Yeah. I know. Now, I'm not the guy that touches shit that's hot. Don't get me wrong. I don't like pain. So I'm not going to be like, hey, this is hot. Don't touch it. I respect those signs. But if it's like wet paint, I'm like, is it really? Or did you put that sign up a week ago? Oh, it is. Okay.
You gotta make sure.
I gotta test it.
But when I was a kid, I used to ride my bike, like whatever bike it is. And I would always have to jam my feet in the spokes to see if I could get them out before I flipped over. I would be riding down the street, and it would be like I'd be driving down the street, and I would go, and then eventually it would catch, and my whole bike would go over like this because of my feet caught in the spoke. It was like a weird obsessive compulsive thing. Like, and I'd always end up on the side. I never broke a bone.
Dude, I've never, well, I take it back. I fractured hairline. So, I mean, technically it's broken because it's a hairline fracture, but it didn't need a cast. It just had one of those. You
got to stabilize it.
Yeah. Stabilizer had the big metal bar. So basically I had that because I was like, well, I got to be able to draw. And he's like, well, you can do slight wrist movement for drawing. So when you're drawing, take it off. But when you're for the rest of the day, put it on. It's like, okay. But dude, I used to BMX when I was a kid. And I remember I was on my bike. I was booking it down the road. Yeah. And I lived on a dead end street. So my buddies and I are going down the road. And there were no cars coming, but cars were parked on the side of the streets and stuff in front of houses. And one of my buddies yelled at me or something. And I'm like, what? And I turn around. I'm like yelling back. What? I turn around. Car right there, parked car. I hit that car. I didn't have a pad on the gooseneck, so sack right into that, right onto the hood of the car. I was only like 10.
Man,
I was like 10. My dad, I was only a couple houses down. My dad had to carry me back to the house, and
how fast were you
my
going?
dad was a nurse, so it helped out because I didn't have to go to. He didn't. Since he was a nurse, it wasn't all right, let's just throw you in the car, take you to the hospital. He was like, let me check you out. Yeah, that is not where you want to see tons of black and blue, because it was tons of black and blue.
Oh man, I'm surprised I'm
alive. It was bad.
Yeah.
Well, I had my dad.
Well, the things you did back in the 70s, right?
Story. Huh?
Yeah. The things you did, but you were just like your parents would just go. And you just do whatever you want in the 70s.
It was,
and hopefully you show up by supper.
Right.
And hopefully you don't die.
It was literally when you see this is no bull. When you see the lights come on, the street light come on, come home.
Yeah. But you just let your kids just do whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
Like, just, oh my gosh.
No, my daughter's like,
thank goodness.
I mean, my daughter's 18 now, but when she was like 15, 16, I live at a dead end now. And if she was like, hey, I'm going to walk down to the end of the street, my wife would be like, you can't let her do that. And I'm like, what are you talking about? When I was her age, I would ride my bike 3 or 4 miles to this used bookstore with a buddy of mine on his bike. And my parents were just like, whatever, you know the rules. Come home when,
Yeah.
They didn't care.
They weren't overprotective at all.
No, not at all.
I think that's the way to go. You got to let your kids get dirty and get into trouble.
You got to let them get hurt.
I was
like another thing my dad did. I cut the tip of my finger real bad, my index finger on my left hand, non-drawing hand, pretty bad with an X-Acto knife when I was like 15.
Done that.
And my dad looked at it and goes, yeah, if we took you to the hospital, they'd probably pop a couple stitches in, but I'm going to cauterize it. And I was like, what? And he's like, I didn't even know what that meant. And he's like, I'm going to take a paper clip. He took a paper clip, straightened it out, lit it up with a lighter, told my brother to hold me, and literally and cauterized the tip of my finger.
Do you have a scar?
Slight, like really slight.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I was
like,
that's
smart, man. That's old school. Now everybody would go to the hospital and waste everybody's fucking time.
Oh yeah, yeah. I busted when we moved into this house. I was taking apart a metal shelf and I busted one of my knuckles real bad. One of the joint knuckles on my finger, and literally you could pull it back and see a little bit of the bone.
Yeah. Oh.
So needless to say, I did go to the hospital, and they popped a couple stitches in. I told my brother, and my brother's like a handyman. He's always busting up. His hands are a mess. Where I don't know about you, but I've got pretty girly looking pretty boy hands that you can tell haven't really done much hard labor.
Counting money all your life.
Huh?
You got city hands.
That's right. And my brother's like, you puss. I would have taken duct tape and gauze and just wrapped it around it and kept it on for a few weeks, and it would have healed all fine.
Oh, absolutely, man.
I'm like, no way. But
well, look at that. Like I got, like, look at that. Like that's supposed to be up here. Like that's normal. Right?
Oh yeah,
you got 1, 2, 3, 4 knuckles. Look at this one. It's got like a mountain.
What the hell did you do to yourself?
Mountain, valley, mountain. Because I punched, like I had a temper tantrum. Like something pissed me off, and I was alone. I was like, fuck, and I was punching something, and I punched the wood part because it's like you punch something. You got to get vent, right? You got to get it out of your system. So I'm punching, and then I hit the wrong part, and it was just like.
You hit like the stud of a wall, you mean?
No, I punched a piece of wood in my sofa. I have a sofa that's made of leather.
Oh,
and it's like a punching bag, and I'll punch it once. Not very often. I don't have temper tantrums, but I had one, and that it was like it was like this. I heard a pop. I felt a pop, but it didn't hurt. It was weird. I thought, when you break a bone, it's like, oh fuck, you're in agonizing pain, and it's like waves of pain. But no, it was just like it only, and that kind of like a sketch to finish. So I went, oh fuck. So I phoned like the clinic. I'm gonna go down and check it out. But meanwhile, I had a sketch. So I finished this like sketch, and I was like, oh man, it's the pain, because the only time it hurt was when I was trying to use it. Otherwise, there was no pain.
Sure.
But I'd never broken a bone. So I got it set and everything, but now my hand's all kind of weird.
Everything moves the same though?
Everything's fine, except this finger's like a 1/4 inch shorter now. And my girlfriend laughs so much about that. Look at your little finger.
Oh, that's bad. All right, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up. It's been an hour 45.
All right.
Dude, I'm so glad you're doing that stuff. I look forward to every time you send something to Ethan, he'll usually show it to a few of us. And fingers crossed, Pitt. I love Pitt.
I'm having fun though. That's the thing. I'm having a ball, and I hope I'm doing the work because I'm in a good mood.
No, man, that's what. Oh, actually, here's last question: are you a day guy or a night guy?
No, I've been for about the last few years of being a total night guy.
Really?
Yeah, I'll go to bed around. Well, here's what I do. I get up around 7 p.m.
Yeah.
And then I'm up, and then my girlfriend comes home, and and then I put it like whatever she eats or whatever, and then she goes to bed. I tuck her in. I go back to work, and I work until I make her breakfast, like 8 o'clock. But it's all nighttime.
Wait. So what time do you get up?
7 or 8 p.m.
In the morning?
No, p.m.
Oh, p.m.
Yeah.
So I woke you up for this.
No. What happened was I went, okay, I'm doing this thing with the Andy. Yeah. And I looked, I went, 5:30. Okay, he's on I didn't know where you were. Because when I did the errand show, I thought if 5:30 is like 8:30 here. So I went, oh shit, I have no time to sleep. I gotta I've just stayed up the whole time.
Oh, okay.
But that's
I've
fine.
just never been able to do that night thing. Just never been able to do it.
I'm just really used to it. I mean, I played music for so many years, and when you do that, you go on stage at like 9, and then you're off stage at 2 o'clock. So you go back to the hotel room, you're all wound up from playing music, and then you just kind of go, like I would just draw. Other people would go out partying. I would just sit in my room and draw. Yeah. So you're not ready to go to bed like until 4 a.m. I just got really used to that. I don't know if that's healthy, but it just seems to work.
I think healthy is just the amount of sleep. It doesn't matter when.
I think so, but I know, but I've heard conflicting information about your body, like the human body wants to be asleep at 4 a.m. in the morning. Like if you're not asleep at usually 4 a.m. in the morning is when you really feel, if you're staying up all night, that's when you really starts to hit you. And I'll be laying here like asleep in my chair, like
wow.
I've fallen asleep in my chair many times.
I've done that up here, but it's usually when I just want to take a little 20-minute nap. So
yeah, it looks very well lit. It's a lot of fluorescence
in here. Oh yeah, I can't deal with these are all the daylight type bulbs. I can't deal with soft white and then just regular with the yellow. Ugh.
Oh, so that's what I hate about a lot of the conventions. When you do conventions, they got the fluorescent light, and it's so awful. And you're sitting there, and people are taking pictures of you, and you got all this happening. Yeah, because they're looking down at you. All the people walking around are looking down at you. Yeah. But I remember I've seen a couple artists actually stand and do that. I completely understand it. Yeah. Unless you don't get like the secretary butt.
That's true. No, I usually get up around 5:30 and crash out around 10:30.
Wow.
Yeah.
So. That's awesome. Yeah, I've done that. I've done that schedule before.
Yeah. Cool, man.
It doesn't seem to make a difference though.
Right.
You know, there's that thing where like a lot of times you come up with ideas at 3 o'clock in the morning, like the magic hour. Like a lot of famous songs were written at 3 a.m.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like this weird. It's like it's just a weird thing where you just like the weird energy at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I found that I come up with ideas, a lot more ideas at that time, like between 3 and 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
There's something really magic about that hour.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Well, that's cool. All right, man. I appreciate it. Hang out after, because I want to chat for a few more minutes after. Akira, you know it. And there you go. AJ Tom says, be like Dale. Get your own copy of First Man Here. That's right. First Man 2 Learning Curve. Go out and get it. The link is there, and it's in the description below. 64-page square-bound graphic novel, superhero goodness at its finest. So please check that out. Everybody, give a nice wave to Dale, even though he can't see you. He'll appreciate it. He'll know. We thank him for being here. Dale, it was awesome hanging out, man.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on.
Of course.
I'm a little bit drunk, but
I don't care. Doesn't bother me.
That's good. That's very good.
Nah, man, doesn't bother me at all. And everybody else, have a great night. Thank you for joining. Hit the like button if you haven't. Please subscribe if you haven't. And I will catch you guys later. Bye, everybody. Boom.
Luke Henry, after kicking Monarch's ass to the depths of space, is back on Earth. And now he's looking to save the world from the Fourth World Foundation. Sure, he had help from Penumbra before, but she's not helping him this time. He's got to face it on his own. Look at these four people. He's coming for a villain known as Adonis. He'll do it. You'll be there. Back it now. First Man 2, Learning Curve.